Hi, welcome to Barmy Army fan cams after a 2-1 defeat away at Chelsea. I'd like to say 2-1 flattered us, but I'm not quite sure what to make of all of that. Fiona, Jake, Jack, Marty are going to hopefully help me make some sense of that. Fiona, where do you want to start with it?
I don't know what it was. Was it the first game back after the Christmas break? We just didn't look on it today. We were slow. We didn't seem to be able to change our style of play when things weren't working. Yeah, it wasn't it was a poor performance. We've had a few poor performances this season and managed to get a result, but that doesn't happen against Chelsea. They're just another level, which we can get to, but just not when we play in Paula. 2-1 flattered us. They had plenty of chances and should have been 4-5-0 up at half time. We did try and fight back, but it just wasn't enough today.
Jack, are we grateful for Sam Kerr?
Yes. With that said, I'm not grateful for our defensive display today. And for all of Chelsea's possession and chances and all that, it really did take one lapse, in concentration, one long ball, and the other goals from a set piece as well. So, if it hadn't been for those fine margins that we're still learning in the WSL, in top games, who knows? We could have even got more out of it. It's a shame we couldn't.
Yeah. Marty, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Are there positives that we can take from this match?
I think that Chelsea came into it. They had an awesome game plan. I think that we didn't have, I wouldn't say the same energy level, but we didn't last through the match. We had high points. And then we just had, okay, we're hanging in there. And if there's one high point that I could say that we could take away from it is that Chelsea only got a 2-1 win off of us when we were really dragging. We stayed with our defense. We were marking players decently. They caught us badly. And that second goal really, I think we were pressing a bit too aggressively. And we got caught. We just absolutely got caught. I think that we hung in there. We didn't give up. And I think if it was another team, Chelsea would have been up by 5 goals. Yeah. So I will take it that we were pit bulls when we had to be, even though our energy level just wasn't there. Their energy level was a lot higher. They were playing a lot freer. And I do believe that they benefited from being able to play last weekend. And we weren't able to. So I do think that we were a little bit slow off the whistle.
I don't think anybody would have an issue with anything you've said. Jake, for me, 2 elements stood out that we were second best in. One was physicality, the other was intensity. Did we see the difference today between a championship winning team and a championship contending team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to look at it that Chelsea are a group of world-class players, and I said it I said it in the watch along. From the first minute, they dominated us in midfield, and they had that momentum going forward. Whereas our attacks were just sort of quick breakaways. I've not looked at the statistics yet, but they're probably quite kind to Chelsea, unlike the scoreline, which I think does us a bit of a favour, really. Not that we played terribly, but I just say it's a gap in quality between the team that's now most likely to go on and win the league and just contenders like us. But some of the players can be proud today. It wasn't a dreadful performance. For example, it's better than how we played in the Conti Cup. I'll say that much. But yeah, we could have had a little bit more just coolness on the ball, thinking, the decision making, just to pass the ball to the right player rather than just stab at it. Just little elements that could have changed it today.
Fiona, I know we're trying to be quick because in case that wasn't enough torture for one day, the men are playing shortly, and that's another massive game. So we're going to try and be quick here. But Before I ask you all to pick a player of the match, because I think that could be a bit of a challenge, we've talked about Tobin Heath countless times in these fan cams, and Tobin was injured today, wasn't even fit to play by the look of it, even though she was named on the bench. How much of a difference do you think she'd have made, or not at all?
On the pitch, she would have made a difference, because you see in her goal celebrations how much passion she has. You could see it when she's on the bench today. She was shouting at the players, telling them where to go, that kind of thing. So I think she would have made a difference from that. But she's also a world-class player, and so I just think sometimes we needed that, just a bit of like intelligence to go, actually that's not working, I'll switch it and I'll try this out and I'll see if that works, and try and, the defending, I think I'm just going to do that, well I can now switch between the two. And I think, yeah, she would have been a great player to have come off the bench or to start, similar to how in the first game, we had Jackie come off the bench and made that impact. I would have expected the same from Tobin.
Okay, Jack, talk to me about the one moment of absolute quality from us today. Lauren's goal.
Yeah, it's a shame it didn't get us any points. That's all I can say, because it was a quality moment. We might have had, one or two other moments throughout the game, but that was a proper quality moment. Good interchange of passes and a finish that you want to see, right in the corner, no messing around, proper finish, proper goal. And, Chelsea, I'm not saying that they didn't deserve to win. Of course they deserve to win. But we scored the best goal in the game. That's something, I suppose. Again, it's a shame that it's those fine margins on things like set pieces and lapses of concentration that have cost us today.
Yeah, and also a lapse in concentration because not long after we'd got the equaliser, Marty, they came back at us. Is this just another element of a team that matures, that our intensity will increase, we'll be able to sustain it for longer physically, and also concentration? Is this just part of a process that we have to accept, or should we be able to do it now, do you think?
I think that if we had played this match, say in 2 weeks, when we were playing consistently, I think Chelsea would have had even more of a fight on their hands.
Yeah.
To keep up with us. I just think we were out of sync, and we were just slightly off. And us being slightly off against Chelsea is much different than if we're slightly off against Aston Villa. We just, our timing was just off. Our passes were just slightly off. We had a lot of forward passes that looked really good and had a lot of potential, but they had too hard a touch on them. And that's just practice in live matches. And you can't get that in practice against yourselves. You just can't. So yeah, I think that we're, unfortunately, with the way the league runs, we need somebody else to beat Chelsea or to tie them. So that way they lose points.
Yeah.
Okay. Because right now, even though they got one in hand, they're going to overtake us, unless something occurs and they just have too big a bench. And right now our bench didn't match their bench today.
No, not at all. Jake, the question's coming, everybody, so have your answer ready in terms of player of the match. Jake, how big now does that game next week against Birmingham become?
Massive, really. And look, we said it before, after defeats this season in the Conti Cup, that makes the next game even bigger. You want to bounce back, you want to put on a good performance. Birmingham, not a team to be taken lightly, as we saw earlier in the season. No lapses of concentration against them. Okay, not the same standard of Chelsea, but still a game to bounce back, a game to get some to sort of boost the morale a bit, and to hopefully get back to winning ways. And something to push on from, hopefully.
And we know they've got dangerous players, Jake. I'll leave that one there. Right, one word, one name, one answer from you all. Player of the match. Fiona.
Leah.
Jack.
Leah.
Marty.
I think Leah.
Okay, Jake, you going for a full house?
Yeah, 4 votes for Leah.
Leah Galton wins our player of the match. There's also a poll going on at the moment, so hopefully we'll see who wins that one. Maybe everybody will agree with us. Thank you very much for joining me. We're going to go and subject ourselves to another tortuous game, and we'll catch you next week after the Birmingham game. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks for inviting me. Bye.